Hey there, it's Brian King. There's a misnomer that the holidays, like this time of year, we just finished Thanksgiving in the US and Christmas is coming up. The misnomer is that it's the loneliest time of year. And the reality is there are a lot of people for which loneliness is a mainstay. It's not something that occurs seasonally. It's something they feel pretty much perpetually. And why is that? Well, one of the reasons is neurology, whether you have ADHD or Asperger's. That can come along with some difficulties with processing, meaning not only information, but social information. Difficulty having conversations, staying tuned in, being able to catch what everybody's saying, being able to read between the lines. And this is something that there are strategies for so that you can fill in those gaps. That's a separate conversation. But for those who don't have those tools, there can be this ongoing difficulty with connecting with other people that leaves them always feeling on the outside looking in. That when they do make an effort to connect, they tend to fall flat somehow. There's frequent misunderstandings, there's hurt feelings, there are things that are said that are meant well but turn out being offensive, and so on. I mean, those of you who live this understand what I'm talking about. So what do you do when your own neurology is sabotaging you? Well, the first thing you need to understand about loneliness is it's not an entity unto itself. It's not something you have. It's not necessarily something you feel. It's also something that you do. I mean, there's actually a way to be lonely when you think about it. And this is speaking from somebody who likes to be alone from time to time. You know, I need my time and my space to recharge. But what I don't like is feeling lonely. In that feeling that I don't have somebody to connect with. That even if I did reach out, there wouldn't be anybody to reciprocate and want to spend time with me. I used to have that experience, and thank goodness I don't anymore. But it took some work in order to create the environment and the relationships where I no longer have to worry about being lonely. So how do you do loneliness? Well, it starts with a thought, a belief. A belief like, I'm not worth spending time with, or I'm a burden to people, or I annoy others. People don't like me. When you have those thoughts and those beliefs, do you really want to reach out and take a risk at meeting new people? Of course not. Because your underlying notion, your operating manual is that if I try to reach out to people, I will cause them problems, so I'm better off not taking any action. So what options does that leave you? It leaves you the option of being alone. Then you start thinking about how alone you are and how people don't like you, how nobody wants to spend time with you, how much you want to connect, how it would be great to have people in your life that understood you, that valued you, that actually wanted to spend time with you. Because if you had those people, you wouldn't feel lonely. Lonely is that absence of opportunity to connect with other people. Now, it's our essential wiring to connect. That's what creates families, relationships, society, is we seek each other out because we want to have those experiences with one another. Those experiences of we, of together, of us. But those underlying beliefs are the first things that kick you in the butt. Then you ruminate, you fixate on the absence of things in your life, the absence of people. Are we not interacting right now over this wonderful medium called social media, called Facebook? The people are out there, my friends. It's not that they're deliberately turning their back on you, but there are specific ways to connect with them, to bring them into your life. But if your entire mindset is that your actions won't matter, that when you show up, you're a problem, even if they were all lined up on your front porch, you probably still wouldn't engage them because of all the walls that you've set up. So it begins with your psychology. You know, some people who don't have the internet per se, guess what? Your public library does, and you can access it for free. All you need to do is get a free library card. So the options are there. So let's say you overcome those beliefs. You believe that you're worthy. You have a newfound sense of your inherent value as a human being. And you decide you want to take the chance to reach out to other people, to create opportunities to connect for yourself and for them. What do you do? Well, you have to ask yourself some questions. The first question is, what must I do to show this other person that they matter? You have to learn how to pay attention, to listen. Because when you're lonely, you can be kind of needy. Your bucket is empty and you're looking to get your bucket filled. So it's easy to show up and talk about you and only you. You know, I know what it's like to monologue. I used to do that a lot, and I'm sure I still do on occasion. I'm raising kids that monologue, and we're working on teaching them more reciprocity. But being able to connect with other people begins with learning how to care for them. And like I said, it can be difficult when your bucket's not full. So let's start with how do you fill your bucket when you feel lonely, when you feel alone? I had a conversation this morning with a wonderful young man who, it turns out, he's a reporter for the local daily newspaper, and he decided to do a story on me. And the story is going to be online tonight, and it's going to be in print tomorrow, and I'll share a link with everybody. But after talking, I don't know, maybe we talked for 45 minutes or so, but he asked, what's the big message from my story with everything that I've gone through? And I had to think long and hard about that one, because I have a lot of things that I've learned over the years. And it's hard to kind of wrap it up into one thing, but I did come up with something. And what I determined was, with all the hardship that I've experienced, I think I realized that if I somehow always find my way back to love, find my way back to kindness, then life will give you everything you need. Because love is the ultimate source of abundance. It opens you up to everything. And one of the hardest lessons that there is for each of us in life is to learn how to love ourselves. And that's something that's not a destination, that's ongoing work. Because we make mistakes, we trip over ourselves, and usually our first response is self-criticism. And then we have to find our way back from that, the guilt that we instill in ourselves, and find a way to love ourselves again. And when you love yourself and you come from that place, it's very difficult to not see everyone and everything else from a loving lens. And when you project that to others, that you love them, who the heck wouldn't want to be around you? Maybe people that struggle to love themselves, of course. They're not ready to be around you. But there are plenty that are. So the most powerful solution to loneliness is to ask yourself, what must I do? What must I believe in order to love myself first? Is it an easy answer? No. Is it work? Hell yeah. Is it worth it? You bet it is. But you have to do the work. You have to find out and rediscover that you are a human being like everybody else, just like me. And because of our essential humanity, we are so alike. We're like brothers and sisters. We often miss that while we spend all of our time comparing ourselves to one another, measuring ourselves in a competitive way. Who's got this? Who's got that? Who's faster? Who's got the faster downloads? Who's got the newest phone? And all that other mundane stuff that really adds nothing to the value of our lives, just distractions. But when we look at our essential humanity, we realize that we are just so connected. And the only barriers we set up between each other are really the ones we construct ourselves. So discover that essential humanity. Learn to love it. Everything that's imperfect about you is imperfect about everybody else, no matter what lies they tell themselves. So learn to love you first. And when you learn how to do that, start finding opportunities to share that love with others. And before you know it, you won't be lonely anymore. because there will be so many people around you that want to feel loved, want to feel like they matter. And they'll be so grateful to you, they'll want to give it back. Now, I've explained very generally how to do this or what's necessary, but there are a lot of small steps that are involved, steps that I help my clients through all the time, if they're up for the journey. But I at least wanted to share the framework with you because there's so many people out there that feel lonely, that deserve to feel like they're connected. So those are my thoughts on this. I hope they're helpful for you. If there are other people in your life that you think can benefit from this message, please share it so they know that they're loved and that they matter to you enough that you share this with them. Thank you for stopping by. I honor you for your time and your attention. I'm very grateful. This has been Brian, and we'll talk again soon.